Hello everyone, welcome to Fluent English Stories. Have you ever stopped and wondered why you do certain things without even thinking about them? Why you greet people a certain way? Why you eat with a fork or with your hands? Or why you feel uncomfortable when someone stands too close to you? Today, I want to talk about something that controls almost everything you do, but you probably never notice it. I am talking about culture and how it shapes the way we behave, think, and see the world around us. Culture is like an invisible teacher that lives inside your mind. It teaches you what is right and what is wrong, what is polite and what is rude, what is normal and what is strange. And the interesting thing is, you never signed up for these lessons. You just absorbed them, like a sponge absorbs water, from the moment you were born. Your family, your friends, your community, the TV shows you watched, the stories you heard, all of these things quietly built your understanding of the world. Let me give you an example. When I was growing up, I learned that you must always take your shoes off before entering someone's home. It was not a rule anyone told me directly. I just watched my parents do it, and so I did it too. To me, walking into a house with shoes on felt wrong, almost dirty. But then, when I moved to another country, I noticed that people kept their shoes on inside. At first, I felt shocked. I thought, how can they walk on carpets with outdoor shoes? But slowly, I realized that what feels normal to me is not normal for everyone. That is when I understood that my normal was just my culture speaking through me. Culture is powerful because it works quietly. It does not shout at you or give you a list of rules to follow. Instead, it shows you how the people around you behave. And your brain naturally copies that behavior. Psychologists call this social learning, and it happens from the time you are a baby. You watch, you listen, you repeat. Over time, these small actions become habits, and those habits become who you are. But here is the tricky part. Because culture feels so normal to us, we often think everyone else should feel the same way. We believe our way of doing things is the right way, the logical way, the only way. And when we meet someone who does things differently, we feel confused, or even a little bit annoyed. We might think, why do they talk so loudly? Why are they so quiet? Why do they eat so slowly? Why are they always in a rush? These questions are not really about them. They are about us and the cultural lens we are looking through. This is where misunderstandings begin. Imagine you come from a culture where being direct is a sign of honesty. You say what you think, clearly and quickly. You value truth over comfort. But then you meet someone from a culture where being indirect is a sign of respect. They speak softly, they use hints, they avoid saying no directly because they do not want to hurt your feelings. Now what happens? You might think they are being dishonest or unclear, and they might think you are being rude or aggressive. But in reality, you are both just speaking the language your culture taught you. This happens all the time, especially in workplaces, schools, and international friendships. I once worked with a colleague who never said no to any request. At first, I thought she was very helpful and kind. But after a while, I noticed that she would agree to things and then not do them. I felt frustrated. I thought, why did she say yes if she could not do it? Later, I learned that in her culture, saying no directly to someone, especially at work, is considered impolite. So instead of refusing, she would say yes and hope the situation would change. Once I understood this, I stopped feeling frustrated and started asking questions differently. I learned to listen not just to her words, but to the meaning behind them. This is one of the most important lessons culture can teach us, that communication is not just about words. It is about understanding context, tone, body language, and cultural background. When you learn a new language like English, you are not just learning vocabulary and grammar. You are also learning a new way of thinking, a new way of expressing respect, humor, emotions, and ideas. Let me tell you another story. I have a friend who moved to a new country to study. In the beginning, she struggled a lot. People seemed cold to her. They did not smile much. They did not ask personal questions, and they kept conversations short. She felt lonely and thought maybe people did not like her. But after a few months, she started to notice something. People might not smile at strangers on the street, but when you got to know them, they were loyal, honest, and deeply caring. They just showed warmth in a different way. What she first saw as coldness was actually just a different style of friendliness. This realization changed everything for her. She stopped expecting people to behave like they did back home, and she started appreciating them for who they were. That is the key, my friend. When you stop expecting the world to fit your culture, you start seeing the beauty in other cultures. You stop judging and start learning. You become curious instead of critical. And that curiosity is what makes you grow, not just as a language learner, but as a human being. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. Does this mean I have to give up my own culture to fit in somewhere else? Absolutely not. Adapting to a new culture does not mean losing yourself. It means adding new layers to who you are. Think of it like learning to play a new instrument. You do not forget how to play the piano just because you learn the guitar. You simply expand your skills. You become more flexible, more creative, more open. In fact, learning about other cultures helps you understand your own culture better. It is like looking at yourself in a mirror for the first time. You see things you never noticed before. You realize why you do certain things, why you believe certain ideas, and why you react in certain ways. This self-awareness is incredibly valuable. It helps you communicate better, build stronger relationships, and avoid unnecessary conflicts. So how can you start becoming more culturally aware? It is simpler than you think. First, pay attention to your own reactions. When you feel surprised, confused, or annoyed by someone's behavior, pause for a moment and ask yourself, is this behavior actually wrong? Or is it just different from what I am used to? Most of the time, it is just different, not wrong. Second, ask questions with genuine curiosity. Instead of assuming you know why someone does something, ask them. Say things like, I noticed you do this. Can you tell me why? People love talking about their culture, and you will learn so much by simply listening. Plus, asking questions shows respect and interest, which helps you build deeper connections. Third, observe without judgment. When you're in a new environment, watch how people interact. Notice their body language, their tone, the words they choose, the way they greet each other. Do not label these behaviors as good or bad. Just notice them. Over time, you will start to see patterns, and those patterns will help you understand the culture more deeply. Fourth, be patient with yourself. Cultural adaptation takes time. You will make mistakes, you will feel awkward, and you will probably embarrass yourself a few times. That is okay. Every mistake is a lesson. Every awkward moment is a step toward understanding. Do not be afraid to laugh at yourself and keep trying. And finally, stay open. Openness is the most important attitude you can have when learning about other cultures. It means you are willing to change your mind, willing to try new things, and willing to see the world from a different point of view. It means you are not stuck in your own bubble. You are ready to explore, to learn, and to grow. Let me share one last story with you. I once met a man who had lived in 5 different countries throughout his life. I asked him, "Which culture do you belong to now?" He smiled and said, "All of them and none of them." He explained that every place he lived added something to who he was. He learned patience from one country, directness from another, warmth from a third. He said that culture is not a cage that traps you. It is a garden where you can plant seeds from everywhere you go. I thought that was beautiful. So, my friend, I want to encourage you today. Do not be afraid of cultural differences. Embrace them. Let them teach you. Let them stretch your mind and open your heart. Whether you are learning English to travel, to work, to study, or simply to connect with people around the world, remember that language is more than grammar and vocabulary. It is a bridge between cultures, between people, between hearts. Every time you learn a new word, you are not just memorizing sounds and letters. You are learning how another group of people sees the world. Every time you practice speaking, you are building that bridge a little stronger. And every time you make a mistake and keep going, you are showing courage. The courage to step outside your comfort zone and grow. So keep learning, keep practicing, and keep staying curious. Talk to people from different backgrounds. Listen to their stories. Watch movies and read books from other cultures. Travel if you can, or explore the world online if you cannot. The more you learn, the richer your life becomes. And remember, culture does not divide us, it connects us. It shows us that even though we do things differently, we all share the same human feelings, the same dreams, the same need for love, respect, and belonging. Thank you so much for being here today. I hope this episode inspired you to see culture in a new way. And I hope it reminded you that learning English is not just about passing a test or getting a job. It is about opening doors to new worlds, new friendships, and new versions of yourself. You are doing something amazing, and I am so proud of you. Keep going, my friend. The world is waiting for your voice. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and keep learning. This is Fluent English Stories, and I will see you in the next episode.